Senator Cedillo.
Members, I also stand very adamantly, enthusiastically, and proudly to speak in favor of our endorsement and confirmation of Abel Maldonado. As a member of the Rules Committee, we have a very modest but firm standard for confirming the governor's nominations. The governor is elected by the people of California. And there's a time for us to be partisan, and it's during those elections. And people will know that during those time periods, I am very, very partisan. But once the governor has been elected, he is the governor, and he is the governor of all of the people. And so when the governor comes forward, he has not only a right, but a duty and an obligation to put forth his own administration. Most likely reflect his views and his perspectives. He has won the election, the people have spoken. And so as a result, the criteria for confirming a nomination of the governor is a modest one, firm but modest. Is the person competent? Does the person comply with the law? It's pretty simple. In some instances, the governor has put forward people who are extraordinarily talented and competent, but failed to recognize their duties or failed to recognize the responsibilities to comply with the law. And in those instances, we have rejected those nominees appropriately. In this instance, that is not the case. There is not a question of whether or not Abel Maldonado is competent. He clearly is. And there's not a question of whether or not Abel Maldonado complies with the law. He does. And so that is very simply in itself sufficient cause for us to confirm him. But there is something more valuable and important about this vote. And it is the question of comity and the question of this institution, and more particularly, it is important at this moment of term limits. Because we must do all that we can to preserve the rich traditions of this body and of this extraordinary, unique institution and this unique legislature. And so we must take a vote that's not simply to confirm Abel Maldonado, but one that confirms our values and our commitments to work together, to be bipartisan. This is what the people want. It is very evident that our lack of popularity amongst the voters is in part because of our failure to work together. And so we must work together. There is no question. My colleagues have come to me and said, Gil, look at his record and look at all the votes he's taken. And I thought, wow, we voted differently on so many issues. And so what did that tell me? He's a Republican. He sees things differently. His party looks at the same problems that we all look at, but has a different perspective on solving them. And so he's a Republican. We know that. That is not in itself a criteria for us not to vote for him. He has, though, on some occasions taken very courageous votes and has done the things that are important to reach out, to set the example, to show us how we construct a bridge to work together. Voting for a budget under the 2/3 criteria and being part of the minority party and reaching out to confirm an agreement and a compromise is courageous. It is heroic. For Republicans to take that vote, your career is in full jeopardy. Your commitment to public service, your ability to be reelected, to maintain positions of leadership are placed in peril and jeopardy. And so to do so is really a reflection of a very pronounced commitment to comedy. And so we must acknowledge that, nurture it, and support it. I would urge a unanimous confirmation of him, simply for that reason. Now, he has taken some votes, though, that I'm very excited about, because I know on occasion I bring propositions to you that I believe are really the right thing to do, that are really important for the people of California, that really reflect our shared vision about where this state is going and how we should meet those challenges that confront us. Now, I'll grant they're not popular. And they're difficult for my colleagues, even in my own party. So when an Abel Maldonado votes that immigrants who comply with the process should get a driver's license, it's a very courageous vote. When Abel Maldonado has the foresight to work with Marco Fireball and myself to say that students who are residents of California, grow up here and go through our schools, should be able to go to college and pay the same tuition, that's a very courageous vote. In fact, some of my colleagues in my own party don't take that vote. And so in the interest of comedy and recognizing how important it is that we have people amongst us who are willing to find the middle, I want to urge that we do what the people want us to do, to be nonpartisan, and to think only of the interests of this institution and its place and value in our democratic society. I urge an aye vote for my colleague, Abel Maldonado.
Thank you.